Okay, right? So we have a big problem here, right? There's this other country doing such a fucking baller job taking care of their people, right? Such a baller fucking job, son, of making such a baller fucking society. I'm talking about relatively, let's say relatively in certain aspects, right? Material condition wise, we'll just say that, because, right? Because actually, that's my point. We'll stick to that because that's my point, right? Right? There's this other country doing so well for the material conditions of their people, right? That they're making us look bad, right? This country being China, this government being the CCP, son. Not that the CCP would look at themselves different from China, whatever, right? I don't know. Why, right? Because they put competent people to do competent shit, right? And there's no dissent, right? That's not a good thing, but this is why it's working. There's no there's a bunch of bureaucracy, but there's no real dissent, right? And the philosophy of the material, they kind of have to, a little bit, right? Because I don't think people would deal with a lot of the bullshit if they didn't, right? So we have all this trifecta, right? And then we have our country, right? Broke as fuck, right? These motherfuckers fumbling the bag everywhere, right? They're just a bunch of fucking demons. I don't even know. Giving the money to other demons, I don't know. They fumbling that shit, right? So there's this discourse where people are like, look at China. Look how China's doing. China's doing so good. China's doing so great. And that's great. All props to it, right? But the thing I'm worried about, right, is that we'll also start accepting like a more authoritarian form of government. You understand? Right? So it's like the discourse is like, well, we're already authoritarian. We might as well get health care, right? And I mean, like, whatever, right? Like, as a de facto statement, it makes sense, right? Like, they're still gonna send you to the concentration camp here either way, right? Let's at least get healthcare, right? All right, but I feel like that angle, right? It's like kind of accepting. It's like that doesn't solve the problem, right? Like, China did not invent the concept of smart planning. They didn't invent it, okay? They did not invent that idea. Right? This is why we need the society interface, right? Instead of having a centralized government, right, mandating most things, we have a centralized, not mandating government, and a distribute. I don't even know what words I would use, son. We need to create that communist committee structure, right? That communist committee structure, which works very efficiently, right? but in a virtual environment, right? That is overlaid on top of the government's functions, right? And then individually, all citizens, right, manage the government through this distributed, right, like system. You understand? Right? And it's everyone at the same time, right? So instead of like from the bottom up or top down, it's from the sides inwards and from inwards outwards, or like 360. I don't know. I don't really know how that would really work out, right? But I'm pretty damn sure, right? If most of the people, right, are actually driving the policy, right, in a like what is that called? Like a crowd funded, in a crowd managed way, right? Motherfuckers is not voting to censor themselves, right? They're not voting for none of that. They're not voting for none of that weird shit, that weird authoritarian bullshit, son. You understand? I'm pretty sure they'll vote to give them health care, give themselves housing, and not censor themselves. Not put themselves in oh, wait, actually, damn. They would, they actually would. They would gladly send themselves. We're gonna hope. We're gonna hope, right, that if they can see, right, the totality of possible answers to a solution, right, and all the variations of those different answers, right, and all the dimensions, right, that are like the legal, the institutional, right, in a temporal, geospatially based area, right? They can be as, they can be as politically incorrect as, like, they'd be like, oh, actually, we don't have to put people in concentration camp because this is really they're not forced to do a narrative,